What's going on, beautiful people? Machiavelli Mills TV. So I just made a video discussing Big Gipp of Goodie Mob and his disdain for Jay-Z. Right? He seemed like he can't stand Jigga. He can't stand Jigga. Jigga annoys the hell out of him. And I don't know if it was something personal or if Jigga represents the New York bias that was present in hip hop at the time that Goodie Mob, the Dungeon Family and Outkast and them was bubbling. I don't know if he feel like Jigga is a representation of that and he just going in on Jigga because of that, right? But nonetheless, the man starts talking about Pac and he starts comparing Jigga and Pac and how, Jigga don't compare to Pac and how Pac would have did this and Pac would have did that and Jigga ain't did this and Jigga ain't did that. And in the midst of talking about the comparisons of Jigga and Pac, the man says that if Pac was alive, Beyonce wouldn't be with Jay-Z. Beyonce would be with Pac. She gonna be with Pac. Because Pac come in the room, he got that aura, man. And, the women, man, your B-I-T-C-A, she gone. She took. Your B-I-T-C-A, she took. Pac, man, he come in there, he at the movies, man. He was a triple threat. And she would have been with Pac. She wasn't gonna be with Jay-Z. And I was like, fam, this is just really, that's slimy, fam. You gonna sit here and say another man's wife wouldn't be with him if another man was alive. Really, bro? That is out of order. That's out of pocket. So right there, Big Gipp, that's my man's. I love Gipp. I love Goodie Mob. I love Outkast. As you can see the photo, the painting of Andre 3000 behind me, right? I love Goodie Mob and Outkast and all of that. But Gipp is up here hypothetically cock blocking and dirty macking for a deceased man, bro. Pac been deceased 30 years. Almost 30 years. Almost 30 years Pac been deceased. And Gipp is out here cock blocking and dirty macking for him. Like, what is going on, bro? But see, this here is a representation of how a lot of black men overly love Pac to a way where it's like, you gotta calm down, brother. You got to calm down. Like, here's the thing, man. I'm a big Pac fan. Big Pac fan. Like, real talk, I want to say, All Eyes on Me is one of the top 10 albums I can't live without. I love that album. Love it. Love a lot of Pac songs, Do for Love and all that. Man, listen, Do for Love, one of my favorite songs ever. Ever. Right? Checkout Time put me in a place, in a place of serenity and peace and calmness or whatever. Whenever I'm stressed out, I don't know. Pac was just a magnificent songwriter. And he had a superstar aura and presence about him for sure. But brothers be out here doing the most. I'm like, man, you're really out here trying to say that man's wife wouldn't be with him because she would have been with Pac. Maybe you confusing Beyonce with Jada Pinkett Smith, maybe. I don't know. But it's like, come on, bro. That is some nasty work right there. Saying that man's wife wouldn't be with him, she'd be with Pac. And I always say this, man. Brothers love Pac so much they make excuses for a lot of the things that Pac did. A lot of immature things Pac did, for sure. That you, your son, your uncle, your cousin, your brother, your best friend, none of us will be able to get away with that. They would all call us immature. They would all call us or crazy or deluded for some of the things that Pac did, but they give Pac excuses for it. And they say he was young. Brother, if I was 22 and I was doing some of the stuff that Pac did, people would clown me out. And they would clown you out as well. But people love Pac to the highest degree that they don't want to say what's really real in a lot of these situations, right? And I see it all the time, man. A lot of brothers wanted to be like Pac and emulate him to the most. And Gipp had an admiration for Pac, and you could see it with how he was bringing up Pac in a lot of the conversations he was having in his recent interview. I think it was on the Art of Dialogue. I really got to go see if it was that channel. If it wasn't that YouTube channel, I'll put the correct name of the YouTube channel in the comment section below because I don't want to say anything inaccurate. But a lot of brothers, you could see that from that interview, Gipp had an admiration for Pac like a lot of black men did. But sometimes it just goes too far. Like, you like, really, bro? Like, this is what we own? Brothers make up excuses like, I will tell you, I'm one of the biggest Pac fans you'll find. But him, trying to affiliate himself with Mob Piru, even though he was around a lot of Mob Pirus with him being death row. But to him, for him to insert himself in their street beefs was foolish. It was beyond foolish. And I say it again. If I'm from Chicago, or I'm born and raised in Chicago. Everybody on this channel that watch this channel know that. If I sign with a group of black disciples, if I sign with a label full of black disciples, and they're into it with some GD sets, and I see a GD that they're into it with, and I just walk up to them and still offer, and just start kicking them and stomping them out because I'm signed to their label, and this me showing loyalty to the label I'm on. Brother, them brothers would kill me. They would kill me, bro. No hesitation, they would. Because it's like, hold on. Why are you inserting yourself in something you have nothing to do with, right? And by all means, and look, Pac wasn't soft by any stretch of the imagination. He wasn't soft. But he wasn't a gangbanger. He wasn't moving in a gang-banging ilk. He was not familiar with gang-banging politics like that. He was not, that was not the culture he grew up in, was not gang-banging culture. And he wasn't a gang member. So for him to insert himself in that, it was foolish, right? And I love Pac, but it was a silly thing to do. And you can say it was a foolish thing without trying to denigrate Pac. Brothers be like, well, you got to understand, he was being loyal. It's about loyalty. Brother, if I would have done something like that, all of America would have called me stupid and would have said his young ass shouldn't have been in that street shit. He should have just kept making the music. He should have left it alone. That should have been the end all be all. He shouldn't have been trying to ride out with and act like he was a member of Mob Piru. That's silly for him to do that. People would have told me that. But because it's Pac, everybody, he was young. Listen, I could have been 21 and people would have still called me stupid and they would have said he's a grown man now. He's supposed to know the difference between right and wrong and doing silly stuff like that. But people make excuses for it. People make excuses for him trying to affiliate with gang-banging activity. He was being loyal. Listen, man, loyalty is one thing. But trying to be a gangbanger and moving a ilk and inserting yourself in street beefs is another thing. And brothers don't want to mention that at all. Nobody, even the way Pac handled certain beefs in certain situations, it escalated certain things. It heightened it for sure. And if a lot of these young dudes did what Pac, certain things that Pac was doing, and a lot of them are, once these young dudes die, or again, once these young dudes have lost their life, a lot of the older generation say that's their young brother fault. All that negative energy he's speaking out, all that energy he bringing to himself, all of that energy he emitting, all that crazy talk he doing, it comes full circle. He should have cooled it out. He should have calmed it out. He should have been cooled down. But when it came to Pac, everybody made excuses for the certain things that Pac was doing, how he was handling himself, how he was moving in them certain situations. I love Pac for real, but Pac was way too emotional of a man. He was way too emotional of a man. For sure. And again, this is coming from a humongous Tupac fan. But I'm telling you the truth. He was way too emotional for him to really move rational out here in this world. He fly off the hinge at any moment. He would be like night and day sometimes on certain situations, especially after he played Bishop in Juice. He really turned into that character. A lot of people feel like he got stuck and trapped into that character. But yeah, man, being unhinged, can't control your emotions, just ready to just go crazy and act wild and get buck wild. Because you just mad and you upset. When you upset and you lash out without any logic, I'm telling you, it's a recipe for disaster. You have to think before you lash out. Don't act off impulse. But Pac would act off impulse a lot because he was way too emotional. And a lot of black men don't want to admit that. They don't want to admit that. They will tell the kids in my generation that act like Pac or even worse, or get emotional and ready to fly off the hinge and diss everybody and yeah, I effed your girl and all this and I effed your B, I effed your wife and my fofo, make sure all your kids don't grow. When brothers is talking in that ilk in my generation, and they'll take it a step further by mentioning the names of dead people and all that. But when they're moving in that energy, what the older generation, the older men of our society, of our community, of the black community, tell the younger black men that do that, they're foolish, they're silly. It's just completely, it's irrational. They're being way too emotional, and then they'll say, all these young black men are emotional from being raised by a single mama. They got that single mama energy, that single mama energy. The single mama energy is all up in them. That's why they ain't this and they ain't that and they ain't all of that. But they won't dare say that about Tupac Shakur. They won't dare say that, right? They won't dare say that, talk like that. They won't do none of those things. And it's like, yo, man, nah, man, this is not, like, where is the, come on, you gotta be fair across the board. You have to be fair. Because they won't never question Pac, and they won't never say Pac was doing none of that. But they won't say he can't, they won't say Pac was displaying single mama energy, none of that. Making all the excuses in the world for him to be gang banging and all that. It's just like, what is we doing? What are we doing, man? It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense, man. But, yeah, man, it's just like, get out here, meat riding like hell. What are you doing? But a lot of older men love Pac so much, too much. You shouldn't be loving another man that much when you make excuses for all the crazy, silly things they've done, even though it's obvious they were moving irrationally. They were moving in bad faith at times. They were moving like crazily. But if a young kid say he looked up to King Von, they'll say, you stupid, you crazy, and all that. Now, granted, Pac wasn't no killer like King Von allegedly was. But a lot of these young street dudes that the kids look up to, a lot of the older generation be like, that's silly. Y'all follow these silly, foolish kids. But Pac was doing a lot of silly, foolish stuff too. And I love Pac, but nobody says anything about it. Right? And again, they make excuses for him time and time again. They make excuses that for Pac that they wouldn't make for me or anybody else in my generation doing a lot of silly stuff. And now they gonna say, because y'all generation take it too far. Pac was doing a lot of stuff taking it too far. Telling another man I effed your wife and my fofo make sure all your kids don't grow and all that. That's way too far, bro. Way too far. Now you just inciting war. Off of a belief that you have and you really can't confirm and you feel this way just because you feel a way. You don't really know, and it's just you don't have no conversation with that other man. He didn't never have a conversation with Big. You never had a conversation with Big or Puff before then. It's just like, yeah. But a lot of black men overly love Pac, and it's like, all right, now get a little weird. And this is an example of it being weird. When loving Tupac goes wrong, you dirty Mac for him, and you hypothetically cock block for him. Like, what the hell, bro? Knock it off, man. I love Gift. Love Goody Mob. But come on now, knock it off. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out. Peace.